Hey guys, thanks for joining me for Silhouette Sunday. In today's video, I'm actually going to show you how I cut multicolor SVG files. And for this particular project, I'm going to be using a file that I found on Etsy. Now, I won't be showing how to clip for layering. I've actually done that in another video, and I will link to it in the top right-hand corner if you're looking for how to layer HTV or heat transfer vinyl without actually layering it, so basically doing cutouts. I will link to that video again up in the top right hand corner. But for this video, I'm just going to be showing you how I cut different color files while minimizing waste. So I'm going to go ahead and get started by opening my file. So the file, like I said before, is from Etsy, and it's a designer. I believe her username on Etsy is HoopMama or HoopMamaSVG. She also makes embroidery files. So I'm going to open up this SVG file and it's going to pop up on the page. And as you can see here, it's in full color. And I'm actually going to use the same exact colors that they show. I'm just going to shrink the design down a little bit because this is going on the front of a onesie. I know it's not going to fit as large as it was before. I'm also going to go ahead and zoom in just so it's easier to see what I'm doing. So I have the design here and it's all together. And it's all grouped together, first of all, and it looks like it has no cut lines, but it actually does. So if I close this page menu that automatically popped up and go to my line option, if I click the line color and change it, you'll see that the design changes slightly on the edges because there is a cut line. And I'm going to make it black just so it's easier to see on this pink. You can see there's a black line there now. What you're probably accustomed to seeing is red, which is the default color, which is what I'm going to ultimately switch to so you can see it faintly on the black where it says Bestie. So now you can see the cut lines, and now I need to work with each piece of this design separately. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and select the file. I'm going to right click and I'm going to go to ungroup. Now you can see that there are sizing boxes that pops up around each individual section of this design. And now I'm going to go ahead and group these together in similar colors or in like colors. So I'm going to select everything in pink first. And to select these items, I'm going to hold down Shift on my keyboard and just click them. If I accidentally move something in the process of clicking, what I can do is hit Command Z to undo. But for now, I'm not moving anything. I'm just selecting it. So everything in pink is selected. So I'm going to go ahead and right click and group those items together so that they move as one unit. Then I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing with everything in gold. So I'm going to select the dot for the I because I saw that was separate earlier, as well as all the individual letters. I'm going to right click and group those items together. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the Bestie. Or actually, it looks like everything in for this is already, oh, I take that back. So I moved that so I could see if anything was separate. I'm going to go ahead and hit Control Z or Command Z, depending on if you're on a Mac or a PC, and select the Bestie, and then select all these little individual pieces so that they can be grouped together. So once everything is selected, I'm going to right click and I'm going to click Group. Now, to minimize how much waste I have on a particular color of vinyl, I'm going to put each one of these on a separate page. So if you look, when I drag this away, you can see the Bestie moves on its own, and then the Mommy and the hearts move on their own. So since everything is already sized the way I need it to, I'm going to go ahead and just open up 2 more pages, and they're just going to be blank documents. And on those 2 blank documents you just saw me open, I'm going to cut and paste the different options or the different pieces of this file. So I have the Mommy already done. I'm going to select the Is My and cut it and paste it on the next page. And then I'm going to go back to this initial file and select Bestie, cut it, and then paste it on the last page. Now, it looks like these are different sizes, but they're actually not. It's just because this original file is zoomed in. But if I zoom out, you'll see that it's small, just like these other two pages. So now I can go ahead and cut each part of this design out on different colored pieces of vinyl and minimize waste. Now, if you are a person who does pretty well with free aligning, you can move these hearts back up and place them on your project afterwards. If you struggle with the alignment, just leave them in place and you'll have a little bit of waste on one of the colors. So I'm going to go ahead and get this all cut out and then start assembling my final product. Here you can see I have my pieces cut out and I'm going to go ahead and weed my design. And weeding is just the process of removing the excess heat transfer material. Now, when you're doing iron-on designs, you need to be extra careful that you take the time to make sure you remove any interior pieces. So like this O, for example, has an interior piece that needs to be removed. If you forget to take it away after you've ironed it on, it's actually very difficult to get off of your project without ruining it. So next I'm going to go ahead and layer my design. So I'm going to place it so that the part I'm going to iron on first is at the bottom and each layer is going to go upwards. So I'm going to iron on the mommy first and then the is my second and the bestie third. So that's the order I'm laying it down so that when I iron it and pull it apart, I can make sure my design placement is correct. Here is where it's going to sit on my final project and it looks pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the bestie and the is my and just leave the mommy and the hearts and iron it down. Now this particular iron that I'm using has a relatively flat sole plate, so it works really well for heat transfer material because there's no holes. You get consistent heat on the bottom. I know a lot of people prefer to use a heat press, but this is a really affordable way of doing heat transfer if you don't want to make that type of investment. Next, I'm going to place the is my, and I'm going to put the original piece of backer sheet back down just to protect the previously ironed on part of the design and go over it so that it transfers off the backer sheet. And here I'm just going to use the tip of the iron to make sure it's really released and it is completely adhered. My last step is to put down the bestie and align it on the design, and then I'm going to go over it with the iron again. So I'm going to take that first piece of backer sheet and place it down on top and then use my iron to transfer that last portion of the design. Now they do actually make sheets designed for buffering or heat transfer. I don't have one, so I just use the previous piece of plastic as my heat shield. And it looks like I'm moving a lot, but really the video is fast forwarded, so that's why it looks like I'm doing a lot of back and forth ironing. But once that releases from the backer sheet, I'm going to go ahead and remove everything. And here is a quick look at the final product. And as always, guys, thanks for watching.